Imagine sitting down to eat a simple frozen beef lasagna. It's something you've bought dozens of times before, cheap, convenient, and familiar. But what if that beef inside wasn't beef at all? In 2013, millions of people across Europe discovered exactly that. Everyday food products, burgers, ready meals, supermarket staples were suddenly found to contain horse meat, often without any warning on the label. What started as a routine food test quickly spiraled into one of the biggest food scandals in modern history. But here's the unsettling part. This wasn't just a labeling mistake. So what really is the Great Horse Meat Scandal? It exposed a hidden network of suppliers, middlemen, and shortcuts that most consumers never even knew existed. And it raised a bigger question. If this could happen with something as basic as meat, what else might be slipping through unnoticed? Let's get into it, right here, on History of Simple Things. In early 2013, something unusual began to surface in supermarkets across Europe. What seemed like ordinary frozen beef products, burgers, lasagnas, and ready meals were suddenly under suspicion. Customers who had trusted these familiar brands for years were about to discover that something wasn't quite right. It all started when food safety inspectors in Ireland decided to run routine DNA tests on processed meat products. What they found was unexpected. Several beef burgers contained traces of horse meat. At first, the discovery seemed like a minor labeling issue, perhaps a one-off mistake in the supply chain, but within days it became clear this was something much bigger. The story quickly spread across Europe. Major supermarkets pulled products from shelves. Consumers were confused and, in some cases, outraged. After all, horse meat isn't widely consumed in countries like the UK and Ireland, and for many people, horses are seen more as companions than food. The issue wasn't just about what people were eating, it was about trust. As investigations deepened, more alarming details came to light. Products labeled as 100% beef were found to contain significant amounts of horse meat, sometimes as much as 100%. This wasn't just accidental contamination, it pointed to something deliberate. One of the most high-profile cases involved frozen lasagna sold by major retailers. Tests revealed that the meat inside wasn't beef at all. It was entirely horse meat. Suddenly, a routine grocery item became the center of an international scandal. Authorities across Europe began tracing the supply chain. What they found was a tangled web of suppliers, processors, traders, and distributors spread across multiple countries. Meat was being sourced from one place, processed in another, and packaged somewhere else entirely. By the time it reached supermarket shelves, it had passed through so many hands that its origin had become almost impossible to track. This complexity made it easier for fraud to go unnoticed. Somewhere along the chain, cheaper horse meat had been substituted for more expensive beef, allowing companies to cut costs and increase profits. And because processed foods often mix meat from various sources, the deception was difficult to detect until now. What initially seemed like a localized issue quickly grew into a Europe-wide crisis. Products in the UK, Ireland, France, Sweden, and beyond were affected. Some were withdrawn as a precaution, while others tested positive for horse DNA. The scale of the problem shocked both regulators and the public. It wasn't just a single company or supplier at fault, it was a systemic failure. The modern food industry, with its globalized supply chains, had created a situation where accountability was diluted. Consumers began to ask uncomfortable questions. How could something like this happen without anyone noticing? Were food labels reliable? And if horse meat could slip through, what else might be going undetected? For many, the issue wasn't about health risks. Horse meat in itself isn't unsafe to eat. The real concern was transparency. People had been misled about what they were buying and consuming, and that breach of trust had far-reaching consequences. As investigators dug deeper, the trail led across borders, from Romania to the Netherlands, from France to the UK. Each step revealed another layer of complexity. In some cases, legitimate suppliers claimed they had been deceived by their own partners. In others, there were clear signs of intentional fraud. Middlemen played a crucial role, buying meat in bulk and reselling it with altered documentation. By the time the meat reached manufacturers, its true identity had been obscured. One of the key challenges was the sheer number of intermediaries involved. A single processed food product might contain ingredients sourced from multiple countries, each with its own regulations and oversight systems. This fragmentation made it easier for dishonest practices to slip through the cracks. The scandal exposed a fundamental weakness in the food system. While it was designed for efficiency and scale, it lacked transparency. And when something went wrong, tracing the source became a daunting task. More than a decade later, the Great Horse Meat Scandal remains a defining moment in modern food history. It exposed vulnerabilities in a system that many had taken for granted and prompted significant changes in how food is regulated and monitored. In the end, the story isn't just about mislabeled meat. It's about the relationship between consumers and the systems that feed them. It's about transparency, accountability, and the importance of asking questions, even when everything seems normal. Because sometimes the most ordinary items in our lives can reveal the most extraordinary stories. Thank you for watching. If you have suggestions for our next video, feel free to share them in the comments below. We'll be sure to give you an acknowledgement for your contribution. Thank you for joining us on this journey through the history of simple things. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and stay tuned for more stories woven through the smallest details.